There is one emotion you will almost never admit to. Not to your friends, not to the person you love, not, if you can help it, to yourself. You will confess to anger, to lust, to greed, even to cruelty, with a certain rueful pride. But this one you bury, because to name it is to admit something you cannot bear to know. But you know the feeling. The friend's good news that lands like a small, cold stone in your chest. The colleague's promotion you congratulate with a smile that costs you something. The good thing that happens to someone else and leaves you a little smaller, and the sideways look at the person who has the thing you wanted, and the quiet, ugly wish that rises before you can stop it. Not, "I wish I had that," but something darker. "I wish they didn't." It has been called the only sin that gives no pleasure. Every other vice hands you something, a thrill, a taste, a moment of triumph. This one just hurts. And still we do it, constantly, helplessly, and hide it most of all from the one feeling it. This is envy, and the first thing to get straight is what it is not, because we confuse it constantly with its cousin, jealousy. But they are different animals entirely. Jealousy is a triangle: you, someone you love, and a rival you fear will take them. Jealousy is the fear of losing what you already have. It guards, it clutches, it stands at the door of something precious. But envy is not a triangle. It is a line. Just you, and someone who has what you lack. No third person, no one to lose, just a gap between where you are and where they stand. Jealousy guards, envy aches, and what envy wounds is not your body. It is your sense of your own worth. It is the pain that comes when someone else's good fortune holds up a mirror, and in it you look a little less, a little behind, a little like you did not measure up. And because that wound is so shameful, envy does something the other feelings do not. It disguises itself. It will not walk into the room wearing its own name. It comes dressed as something nobler, and it fools everyone, starting with you. So over the next few minutes, we are going to name the thing you were taught never to name, and find underneath the shame something unexpected. That envy is not only a poison, it is a confession, one that points with terrible precision at exactly what you want. So start with a strange fact about envy, one that reveals what it really is. You do not envy the billionaire. Not really. You do not lie awake burning over the film star or the king. They are too far, too unreal, another species entirely. Who you envy is the person beside you, the one close enough to touch, the brother who did better, the friend from school pulling ahead, the colleague at the very next desk who got the thing you both wanted. The nearer they are, the sharper it cuts, and there is a reason for that, a cruel one. Envy needs a mirror, and you can only see yourself in someone enough like you. The billionaire is not a mirror, but the person who started where you started. Same town, same class, same chances, and ended up higher? That is a mirror you cannot look away from, because their success whispers the one thing you cannot stand to hear. It could have been me. There is nothing special about them. We were the same. And the closer the match, the louder that whisper becomes, until their good news feels almost like your failure. Psychologists have a name for the engine underneath all this: social comparison. The mind cannot judge itself alone. Am I doing well? The question has no answer in a vacuum. Well, compared to whom? So the mind looks sideways, always, and measures you against the people around you. And this is why you can have enough and still feel poor. A good life, a fair wage, a sound roof, and one glance at someone a step ahead, and all of it turns to ash in your mouth. The lack was never in your life. It was in the comparison, and we built a machine to feed this every hour of every day. A window into 1,000 lives. But not the whole of them. Only the peaks, the wins, the holidays, the best angle of the best moment. An endless parade of everyone else apparently winning, aimed straight at the wound. But here is where it gets interesting, because envy is not one thing. When that sting arrives, it can go two very different ways. Same pain, same route, but two opposite motions. And which one you take changes everything. The first, the researchers call benign. It looks at the person ahead and it burns. But then it says something powerful. If they can, maybe I can. And it takes the sting and turns it into fuel. It pulls you up toward the thing you envied. The envy becomes a ladder. But there is a second path, the one we do not like to look at. The researchers call it malicious. It looks at the person ahead and it cannot imagine catching up. So it wants the only other thing that would close the gap. Not to rise, but to pull them down, to your level or below. And notice what both are really after. The same thing. To close the gap. To end the pain of the distance. One closes it by lifting you up, the other by dragging them down. Level up or level down. Same wound, opposite cure. So what decides which one fires? It is not that some people are simply noble and others vile. It turns on two quiet judgments. Does their advantage feel deserved? And does closing the gap feel possible? If yes, the envy tends to lift you. If it feels unfair and hopeless, it curdles and turns to poison. And here is the humbling part. You are not one or the other. On a good day, rested, secure, the same news inspires you. On a bad one, tired and small, it makes you want to see them fall. The envy did not change. You did. And that should tell you something about where it lives. So envy hurts. And it is shameful, which means it can almost never appear as itself. No one thinks, I am envious. They think something that feels far more respectable. They think it is not fair. They think they do not deserve it. And that is envy's favorite mask. Moral outrage. The high, clean feeling of principle. They only got there by luck, by connections, by selling out. Sometimes that is true, but watch the heat. When your criticism of someone runs hotter than the facts deserve, you are often not judging. You are envying, in a costume. And there is the tell. The contempt always burns hottest, exactly where you feel most threatened. You do not sneer at what you do not want. You sneer at what you want and cannot reach. Show me who a person belittles, and I will show you, often exactly what they secretly ache for. And if you doubt how deep this runs, look at the brain itself. Scientists put people in a scanner and made them envy. And the envy lit up a region that handles a very specific thing, physical pain. The mind does not treat envy as a thought. It treats it as an injury. And then they let the envied person fall, stumble, fail, and watched what the brain did. And it lit up the reward center, the same circuit that fires for money, for sweetness. The rival's failure registered as a treat, and the deeper the envy had been, the sweeter the fall. There is a word for that pleasure, borrowed from German, because perhaps no one wanted to name it in their own tongue. Schadenfreude, joy at another's misfortune, the strange warmth when someone who had more loses a little of it. It is the only pleasure envy ever pays out, and it is its deepest confession. And left unseen, this corrodes everything it touches. It sours friendships from the inside. It makes another's joy feel like a theft. It whispers that you should hold back the praise, withhold the help. Quietly hope they stumble, a slow poison, and you drink most of it yourself. So that is the poison. But I promised you something underneath it, because envy, for all its ugliness, is carrying a message. And it is a message almost nothing else can give you. Think about it. You do not envy everyone. You do not envy most of what most people have. The envy comes only for specific things. And that is the secret. Envy is an arrow, and it points with perfect accuracy at exactly what you want and will not let yourself admit you want. So the next time it comes, do not flinch from it, and do not obey it. Read it. Ask the question that turns the poison into a map. Not, how do I pull them down? But, what is this telling me I want? What does this sting reveal that I have been afraid to even name? And in that one turn, you convert it. From the envy that pulls others down into the envy that pulls you up. The malicious becomes the benign. The poison becomes a compass. The very thing that wanted them to fall now quietly shows you the direction you were meant to walk. But there is a deeper freedom still, because so much envy comes from playing a game you never chose, running your whole life on someone else's scoreboard, their measure of success, their idea of enough. And you can step off it. You can ask, not am I winning their race, but is this even a race I want to run? And the oldest answer to the sting still holds. The comparison that makes you poor dies the moment you truly look at what is already yours, not as a slogan, as a practice. Envy stares so hard at the one thing you lack that it blinds you to the 10 you have. Turn your eyes back to those, and the sideways glance slowly loses its grip. You came here with a feeling you were ashamed to name. Leave knowing it was never proof that you are bad. It was a signal, a raw, honest signal of what you love, what you want, and where you have not yet dared to go. Stop letting it tell you to pull the world down, and let it tell you instead where to climb. See what people hide, even from themselves.